have not. I ate a muffin for breakfast, but honestly, after I ate that, I didn't really feel like I wanted to eat anything ever again. So that's not good. But now I'm hungry. So now I'm in that. I'm in that infernal loop of you're hungry, but if you eat, it's not gonna be a good time. So that's good. All right. I don't think there's been an update, but I'm like dying, Squirtle. So let's play some Hina, where I can relax and click buttons for Hina. Watch as I throw my first Hina. I'm getting kind of cold now. Cold. Tired. My head hurts. My arm's sore. Whoa. I was doing something last night. I don't remember what though. I was watching a video, a narration of Freddy lore. And I listened for like nearly 2 hours. And then turns out it was all AI generated. It was all AI generated. And I felt like I wasted my time. That was a big shame. That was a pretty big shame. My name is Edwin. I made the mimic. Man. I could go for like a burger right now. Or eat some fries and chicken. But to be honest with you, if I get up and I go do that, there's a chance I fall into my oven. I don't want to fall into my oven. It's kind of fucked up how I won that. It's fucked up that I didn't win that on the first turn, and it's fucked up that I didn't lose on the second. I need to eat food. I blame my shot for this. I got no energy. Never mind. Nandemonai. Kirby came out today, and Kirby seems pretty cool, but I'm not buying a Switch 2. I'm good. I'm good. I kind of forgot that Kirby was set to release, like, today. But, you know, I haven't really been following much of anything, chat, but I do occasionally browse YouTube. And here's kind of what my YouTube feed has been for the last little bit. It's been Silent Hill inspired ambience. It's been 10 hours of rain and or blowing winds. It's been Dead by Daylight is a really bad game, and the devs hate it, and the game is shit, and here's why, and they need to fix it, and yeah, it's been a lot of that. It's been a lot of that, actually. Watch this. Let me click YouTube. Let's see. We got Spaghetti for Dead Princess. We got Silent Hill Ambience. We got a stream with 40 viewers for the VOD, and it's a VTuber. Okay. Alright, we got My Mix. Got Fire Emblem. Got Melee tier lists are wrong. We got Dead by Daylight's Toxic Community. Yep. Yep. It's pretty good. Yep. Is Dead by Daylight pay to win? I don't know, is it? Might be. Could be. For all I know. That's a lot, yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. Convinced that nobody who plays Dead by Daylight actually likes Dead by Daylight anymore. This seems like, at the very least, the most engaging content that you find of it on YouTube is the stuff that's just complaining about it all the damn time. Go guest mode and see what real YouTube viewers be watching. I'm actually afraid of that. I'm afraid to find out what is being pumped on the algorithm to generic people. That can't be good for your health. Negativity sells, though. Negativity sells. I mean, you see how many times videos pop up where they're like, this guy cheated in video game, and that's the video. The video is just this guy cheated, and the traction on those videos are pretty high because people love a good drama story when it doesn't involve them. Nice flip. Alright. Alright. Ready? Not bad. Not bad. No, I'm not even talking about the Markiplier one. That one's funny though. I just mean like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's all for the grind. You know what though? I got another ad on my goddamn Twitch that's like promoting, I don't even know, random product, and I'm getting hit by pop music in a language I don't recognize. I honestly can't tell if it's Japanese, Chinese, or Korean. I cannot tell. I know how that sounds. To a degree, I can tell, but I don't remember the song at this point, so. Go, tip. Tip. Come on. Currently my favorite advertisement is the one where the lady goes, she looks at her phone and then she cancels all of her obligations to go sit with a diverse group of people as the song sings about how incredible she is. That's my favorite one. I get that one a lot. I get that one every single time the ad roll runs. Literally every time. And it just, you know, makes me feel pretty incredible myself. Doo-doo. Oh, I do get the one about AI assistant as well, where the dog barks and it goes and then it like plays calming dog noise, which is just more barking. And then the dog jumps on the table, and then yeah, I get that one a lot too. You get that one? I used to get the one about the guy who was like, Google, how do I raise my dog? And the Google AI was like, this is how you raise your dog. And dude figured out how to raise his dog due to the help of Google AI. Wow, 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 wow. I really wish I had an ad blocker that worked on Twitch. I just don't though. It's really weird though, cause like I've been getting pop-ups that say like disable your ad blocker. So I have an ad blocker that's on. Oh, caught. Glorp caught, by the way. I have an ad blocker that's on, and every now and again Twitch is like, you should disable this because it's removing ads. But then I'm still getting ads anyway, and it's just I'm getting this pop-up that's blocking my screen that I have to click. And it's like, what's even the point of an ad blocker that doesn't block ads? Kinda, what's up with that? But my issue is that I don't like ads. But nobody likes ads, but we sit through them because we love our content creators. Well, no. No. I think I get really annoyed when I get hit by 1 minute and 30 seconds of ads after about 10 minutes of the stream going on. It's even worse when I literally tab into a stream and I get hit by that. Because it's like, okay. Ads just seem detrimental. I don't think he meant to do that. Ads seem kind of detrimental to growth in certain ways. So, like, unless you know the streamer already, you're probably not willing to sit through that many ads. I literally clicked on ZFG before. And I watch ZFG. I like ZFG. But I literally clicked on to watch, and I am like in 5 seconds of gameplay, I got hit by a 90-second ad break, and I was like, if this wasn't ZFG, I would not be here. I would not continue watching, cause like, I'm not doing that. I'm just not. I ain't doing that. But these weren't even really pre-roll ads. Pre-roll ads are a different thing altogether. Pre-roll ads are like you get hit by uncontrollable ads, but I just straight up got hit by an ad break at a moment where I tabbed in during an ad break, so I had to sit through the commercials. And it's like, if I didn't know that I was watching ZFG, I would have been gone. Like straight up, I would have just been gone. That's how it be. Well, that almost worked. The mobile ad's pretty cool because the mobile ad, you're not even allowed to see the title of the stream until you sit through the pre-roll ad. Did you know that? If you're on mobile, you can't see the title of the stream until the pre-roll ad's done. Watch this. No, that was almost good. Right. She's gonna jump. Hina, don't jump. Hina, no! Okay. Why is that a wall? Ah! What? How is that even possible? How did we get her stuck like that? How did we do that? This sounds like fucking Parappa. It's Katamari Damacy. You know, I've never played a Katamari game. I feel like that is exactly the kind of game that I would enjoy, but I've never played one. And there was a new one that just like came out too that looked like a Katamari game. Oh, bye. I win. Katamari's got some great music. Are they PS2 games? Well, there's Katamari Damacy and We Love Katamari, right? And those are like the main two, and then a new one just came out that's like Katamari Upon a Star or something. I don't remember. I don't remember. They have some cool cool challenges and maps and stuff. I've seen gameplay of a couple of them. Alright. Well, the PS2 ones are the original, right? Like, are they available on Steam? I'm pretty sure they're available on Steam, right? I never really looked. I don't know why. It's just, it's one of those game series that I see and I'm like, that seems neat, but I've never really had the desire to take the plunge to really play it. They have remakes. Oh, is that what they are on Steam? Remakes of them? Are the remakes good? I assume they're good, right? I assume the remakes are good. You never know, though. Well, sometimes a remake is good, but some people don't actually care that a remake is good because it's not the original. I've seen that before. It's nice when remakes are good. Granted, those remakes are probably pretty old, all things considered, but, you know. You ever seen Monkey Ball? Monkey Ball, pretty cool. But Monkey Ball doesn't really have remakes. Monkey Ball just continues to put out more games that never live up to the reputation that the original games had. I don't like... Monkey Ball is fucking a hard-ass game, dude. It's a hard game. Oh. I had 2 and 1. I had 2 and 1 on GameCube. Never had Deluxe, though. I don't think Deluxe was on GameCube. I think that one was only on PlayStation 2 and Xbox. If it was on Xbox at all. But it was basically both games. Both games content with some extra content. But it was Monkey Ball 2's engine, which had a couple changes relative to the rest of the game. They remade the Wii Monkey Ball. They did remake the Wii Monkey Ball, and that one is apparently it's pretty hard because a lot of the difficulty from that one stemmed from the fact that it was on the Wii. So when you got more control, they made the game harder because it was easier to play the game. Monkey Ball has always been tough, but some of the shit I've seen in Monkey Ball actually doesn't even seem human to me. Like, that shit doesn't even seem humanly possible. Well, Monkey Ball had to change the Dole brand, because the deal ran out, and also they changed the GameCube level. They turned it to a dice, which I think made it harder just because of the way the dice surface worked versus the GameCube. Stuff like that's kind of a shame, but I get why they couldn't have a GameCube in the game because it's not on the fucking GameCube. It ain't on the GameCube anymore. You know what's interesting is that Sonic has had different like deals with shoes back in the earlier days of Sonic. I did not know that soap shoes were like a real thing. I had no idea that was a real thing. Like, so his goofy ass light up fucking shoes in SA2, that was a brand deal. He never had cool shoes like that ever again. I never really thought much about it, but yeah, that's why. Did anyone buy? They were made for grinding. Wait, they actually, really? Wait, are you serious? Like they actually had shoes that were meant for grinding on rails? Are you fucking with me? I forget what game this is from. I think it's dystopian. It real. I think you're lying to me. I think you're taking advantage of my current mental state to lie to me. Why would you do that? How much did a pair of soap shoes cost? How much? Do they cost a lot of money? They seem really fancy. I had no idea these shoes are real, but I also played SA2 for the first time when I was, you know, young. Well, what were the shoes that he wore in Sonic Adventure 1? Do you know? Do you know what shoes he wore? He didn't wear soap shoes in SA1, right? He wore soap shoes in SA2. Oh no, I didn't even see a gem. I don't look at feets. They're shoes, my guy. He got them, he's... Huh? Bro went and made it weird. Talking about footwear, not feet. Same thing. That's ridiculous. You telling me you've never seen a nice pair of boots and thought, damn, that's a nice pair of boots. I simply don't believe that. Anyway, I just cracked my hand and it cracked in a weird way. It was my right hand, not my left hand. My hand isn't sore anymore, but now I don't want to be awake anymore. My head hurts and my stomach is telling me that I should put something in it so I can spit it out in about 5 minutes after. That's currently where I stand on my day right now. Sometimes my head hurts so bad that I wish I could open a hole in my skull to let it breathe. I know how that sounds. I know how that sounds. But, yeah. Let the air flow into my mind, please. Fucking arm hurts. Go, Hina, go! You're really stuck on that fucking ice ball. Alright. I'm not gonna win, because it's some stupid shit's gonna happen. Never mind, I guess I do win. I didn't think I was gonna win. Cracking your knuckles is fine. They tell you, they try to scare you and tell you you're gonna get arthritis. No, not me. Not me, bitch. I'm immune to arthritis. I am not immune to arthritis, though. So you get when you put your hand next to your side and clench a fist. It's classic. This is... Oh, Hina! What the fuck? This is Pandora. It's a great song. I like this. This Cherno player is kind of unfortunate. Kind of unfortunate. I don't think he deserved to lose to me that many times. 2, mind you, but 2. It's a good song. It is. It's nice. Some good music out there. How many body pieces of your body can you crack? I can crack my toes. I can crack my back. I can crack my neck. I can crack my jaw. I can crack my ribs sometimes when I stretch. I can crack my knee. I don't like that one though, because usually when it cracks, it's in the wrong spot. Boing. Can you crack your ass? I don't actually know. I don't know if you can crack your ass. I've never tried. Have you? What? Well, I mean, you got a pelvis, right? So, can you crack your ass? Your ass got a crack, but can you crack your ass? Think about it. Think, Mark, think. It already comes that way. Yeah, but it doesn't come with my foot up your ass. It doesn't, but it sounds like you want it to. Keep talking back to me. Can you crack your elbow? Actually, yes. If I stretch it enough, I can hear it crack. I can crack a lot of parts of my body. Is that a good thing? I don't know. Why did Tay just teleport up there? What the fuck was that? What? Did you see that? What was that? There's no bones in your ass to crack. Well, I'm asking if you can crack your pelvis. Because your pelvis is in your ass. Well, it's around your ass, I suppose. What can't you crack? Well, you can't crack the parts of your body that don't have bones. You can't crack your ears. You can't crack your ears. That's true. I tell you, man, when you get those fever headaches, that shit just doesn't go away for the entire fucking day. You just gotta like end the day and then it fixes itself afterwards. I swear. Swear to God. You just sit there and you just consume fucking pills. And it doesn't actually do anything. And then eventually when you go to sleep, you wake up and you're like, ah, my health is normal again. I will now take that for granted. Every fucking time, dude. When I don't have a headache, I take for granted how it feels to not have a headache. That said, I don't get a stuffy nose very often. I do not get a stuffy nose very often anymore. Like, I can pretty much always breathe, which is really nice, because some people get some pretty stuffy noses when they're sick, and when that happens, they like straight up just can't fucking breathe when they lie down. I'm pretty good on that one. I'm pretty good on that one. I also don't remember the last time I had a bad cough. I've definitely had coughing fits before, but like there's been pretty few amount of times where I've had coughing fits to the point where the cough is pretty much accelerating to a vom, you know? Most of the time when I cough, it's just to scratch my throat. But very rarely does a cough extend to a point where like it makes my throat sore or it makes me want to vomit. It's my my punch card on health issues is actually pretty unfilled out. It's nice in a weird way. That's crazy. That's crazy that that didn't slide just a little more. Goodbye, Hina. When I went to the hospital to get an x-ray on my hand last year, they didn't, I gave them my information and I wasn't in the system. Because I just don't have to go to the hospital. Ever. So they were like, they asked me if I was even born here. I was like, yes, I was. I just don't have to go to the hospital ever. Oh my sweet baby Jesus. This is the worst game I've ever played. That's gotta be the worst game I've ever been a part of. Ever. Oh my god, that was unfortunate. Bum bum bum. Ga ka ka teiru. Ga ka ka teiru. Soap. 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 Currently ill. I blame my tetanus shot. That's what I blame. I have made an appointment for blood work. And I have to get a tuberculosis shot. And I got an email for my start date. And I have to do employee orientation. And I was just looking at the email earlier today. And I was just thinking, I don't fucking want to look at this right now. I'll do it later. I hate all this fucking nonsense. I'm tired of paperwork, dude. I'm tired of paperwork. So many. I got my email after and it was just, here's all these things you need to do, and I was just like, I have literally no idea where to begin. Now I have my requisition form. I get it. I get why. But like, dude, it's so fucking much. It's so much. I don't know if I'd call it stressful, but it has certainly impacted my desire to do things. I have a... Whoa. Oh, a prank today? I love this one. I'm one of those people who will, like, want to do one thing, and if I manage to do that one thing, the rest of the day, I'm just like, alright, time to fuck off. Like, that's all it is. Sometimes that one thing is something that takes time. Sometimes that one thing is literally one thing. I do one thing a day, and I'm like, that was tough. Hard work. Alright, well done, gentlemen. I'll see you in the office same time tomorrow. Like, I hate doing things. I hate doing things. I hate it. If I do multiple things in one day, it's because God has taken over. and I have no control over myself. Fucking Jesus. Bam. Bitter dumplings. I'm getting cold again. My arm is getting weird. What a weird feeling in my arm. What a weird feeling in my head. Fuck, I'm hungry. Shitballs. I'm hungry. I want to eat food. That lagged. That could have been bad. Oh God. Ugh. You know, not having food in my stomach is worse than having, you know. You know what? Maybe I do. Maybe I go turn on the oven right now and eat some fucking food, and so I'm not like dying. That'd be a really good idea. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. I'll be back in a second. I have my blue lights on. I have my headphones on. And I have a face cloth that is attached to my head via my headphones, and it smells like a wet face cloth, but it's on my forehead. Okay. This really cool technique where you wet a face cloth and then you stick it in your freezer and it freezes your face cloth, and it's great. It's like an ice pack when you don't have an ice pack. Paringu. Oh. I see. Doesn't matter. Don't need that skin. My skin's better. My skin's better. Umo. Go, 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 go. She's dead. Huh? Oh shit. Oh shit. It's been quite a while, but I've arrived at the prerequisite to the secret rank. I've never been the secret rank before, ever. Being in bad health makes me realize how much I take my health for granted when I want to do things. Oh, I don't want to do this. I'm tired. I don't want to do it. And then... Hello, creature. But then when you're like this, you really can't do it. Like, actually can't do it. It's like, well, fuck, man, maybe if I wasn't such a bitch beforehand. That's how I feel. Art has been going great. About as great as it can go anyway. However, it's also been the only thing I've been doing. I have not had a good exercise in like literally a month. And my studies have been pretty much non-existent. I can't multitask. And right now all of my eggs are in the art basket. Which is actually fine because I'm seeing real progress. So I don't want to squander it. I mean, not like I can do any exercise right now anyway, but yeah, it's been pretty bad. It's like I want to do multiple things, but I cannot multitask. Put too many things in different spots and no actual payout happens. That's what I've noticed. But art has been going really well for a month and a half, and I'm gonna just keep at it. But today I cannot, which is kind of shitty. It's almost as shitty as this position we find ourselves in. How is this not fucking happening? Okay, alright, that's fine. I'll free her. I actually freed her. You destroyed my rank. My secret rank. You ruined it. Now I have to work towards it again. If I win, I get like 20 points. If I lose 1 billion points. It's awful. Kyan Seru. No, you're supposed to slip under it. Yeah, like that. Wait, which way is she gonna jump? Fuck it, let's gamble. Alright. Sure. Back up we go. There was something else I was doing before. I don't remember what I was doing before. There was definitely something else I was doing. Was I watching a YouTube video? I talked about that Fire Emblem one that was entertaining. I recognize this theme. Bomberman. Weird. I definitely don't recognize it from Bomberman 2DS. But I recognize the track. Didn't lose any points. It's all good. Wow. I recognize this riff, this theme, but I don't remember where from. I don't remember where. Well, Mario Wii game Toad House. Maybe. Maybe? I haven't played Mario Wii in a long time. When was the last time I played a Mario game? I don't know. Dr. Mario? Is it? I don't think so. Kaboom. $4,000 wing wangs. Nice. Oh shit, I gotta watch my timer, because if it goes off in the middle of a match, you know. Well, I'm preheating the oven right now anyway. I'm preheating the oven. You know, chat, this art in particular, it's funny to me because, well, it's funny to me because it's obviously has a very anime head. It has a very anime head. I have a lot of trouble making anime heads. I don't know why, but whenever I make a head, I have a lot of difficulty making it like anime, if that makes sense. Obviously my heads are still anime, but like there's a certain degree of anime that I have trouble doing. Even when the reference is like that, I struggle to be able to do it. I don't know why. I don't know why. It just doesn't come naturally. And then it's just, I try and then I don't end up making it big enough, and it's like, okay. I don't particularly mind, I suppose, but it's interesting to me how these are these things I see, and it's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And you're in the hole, and I lose 150 points. 250. Hold on, my oven went off. Well, I don't want to do extremely over-the-top anime drawing. I'm just saying that it's funny when I have a reference that does have a more anime-style head, and then I do it, and it's not as anime-style. I just thought it was an interesting observation. Mainly because I guess when it comes down to it, it's like when you do draw, like you do have a mental image kind of what you want. Obviously, actually getting that is not really ever gonna happen, but there is something within you that does dictate your flow, your direction based on what you want. Even if you're never really gonna be able to get exactly as you think you want it, it's one of those things that you might not even really notice. It's just the way you draw it is the way you want to draw it. So when you're learning, it can be annoying. But I guess once you've kind of settled in with what you're used to doing with your own hand, it's probably a lot better. But the frustrating part about being new to it is that you're really not sure what you're supposed to be doing. In short, get used to it, asshole. I just thought it was a neat observation because there were a number of times where it's like it's a big fucking head. It's a big potato looking creature. And it's like, alright, gotta make the head big and like wide and anime. And then I do the head and it's like, head's not the right size. Look at that. Look at that on right there. That on is a perfect example. That on right there. Look at that massive noggin and that twig neck. It's like, that's the Goofy style. But like, if I tried to do that, I guarantee my head would not be as exaggerated and my neck would not be as thin. Even if I was trying to like do the reference, mine would end up looking different. Unless I really, really like fucking like basically aimed to trace what I was looking at. It's just the way the positions will be similar, but mine's just not gonna be that like impossible. I suppose. But that's just I don't know, that's just how it is. That's just how it is. People have different goals for their art anyway. People have different goals. Not everybody wants to draw potatoes. You can't place another one. What the fuck? She jumped. That's not fair. Why did yours do that, but mine didn't? Chotto. Give me back my goddamn money. Final Fantasy. Oh, I love Final Fantasy music because it's all owned by Latin author. Who's that? I don't know, but they own all of it and nobody seems to care. Well, that's fine. That's fine. Whoa, look at her go. I got a bone to pick with you. To draw a picture. I would love to draw a picture. Actually, what I want to do right now is I want to eat and then I want to go to bed. The problem is the going to bed part is quite difficult. So I'll have to figure that out. But if I wake up tomorrow and I feel good, then I have to sit through orientation. I have to do some things before I can. Oh man, I want to crawl into a hole. That's all. Let me in. This is my hole. It was made for me. Well. The tree's in the way, dum-dum. The tree's in the way. YouTube comment. No, that's the wrong switch. You gotta hit the one up under the bush. You gotta hit this one. That didn't do anything, streamer. No, I guess it didn't. But what do you want me to do? Oh, goodbye. Chat, thinking about Pokemon, is there like a game that you remember fondly? And like, you could watch people play and you'd be and you just like, yeah, that's a great game. But then if the question comes, do you want to play that game? You immediately say, not on your life, sport. You got a game like that? Because I do. That's like every Legend of Zelda game I've ever played. Legitimately. Like all of them. I like the 3D Zelda games. I've played them, I've beaten them. I enjoy watching people play them. I like speedruns of them. They're great. Do I ever want to play one ever again? No. Actually, I just kind of don't. I don't think I will ever want to play Twilight Princess ever again. Splash. Pokemon Stadium? Oh, you're right. You're right. That is a good one. Pokemon Stadium is a game that I fucking love just throwing on as background noise. I don't want to play that ass. I don't want to play that shit. Fuck that. That shit garbage. Falsebound Kingdom is another one that I enjoy watching people play. And I like the game a lot. Except if you ask me to play it, I'd tell you to go fuck yourself. This game is terrible. This game is so bad. I like watching Mario Golf as well, actually. Mario Golf is one that I really enjoy watching, but... Well, I mean, it's not that I don't enjoy playing Mario Golf, but I'm not really that good at Mario Golf. But I like watching people who are good at Mario Golf. They make some crazy shots. Bang. But I find it interesting how, when I think about games like Twilight Princess, like, I think Twilight Princess is really cool. It has great music. It's got great aesthetics, in my opinion. I like a lot of what Twilight Princess has to offer. But then it's like, you want to play it again? Hell no. Not a fucking chance I'm playing that shit again. No way. Takes like 3 hours to get to the first dungeon. I'm out. No. No. Whoa, Doc Yomu. Wait, why does she look like she's like actually just like a fucking back alley killer? What's this shit? Maybe it's just this, like, there's some games that we like, but we're not good at, or we know that the time investment to replay is not going to be worth the nostalgia trip, because there's too much about the game that we actually don't like playing ourselves, but we remember fondly. So it's easier to watch somebody else play it because you can do something else while they play it, so you can only really pay attention to the parts you want to pay attention to, and you can continue doing what you want to do on the side. And that's why streaming is so successful, because that's literally what streaming is. It's getting to experience other people playing the game that you like, but you don't have to do any of the actual playing, which means you can just not pay attention to the parts you don't like. But you still know the game, so you can tune in when the stuff you do like and be like, yeah, that's great, isn't it? Love that shit. And then you can fuck off afterwards. You cut out all of the fluff. You don't even have to play the game, but you get the full excitement of replaying the game again. Look at Metroid. Right? You guys want to play Metroid? This poor Daiose. This poor Daiose. Metroid Prime 4 released a trailer. I watched a 7-minute trailer where they advertised Samus's ability to jump as like an ability. Turns out that wasn't the video everybody was talking about. They were talking about the one with the engineer guy who's talking to himself before Samus shows up. And I don't know, man. I think that dude's existence has caused a lot of friction in the game, and the dude's just kind of there, I guess. I don't really know what he does. So, well, some people are saying that, like, oh, he's like tutorial, he's gone in 10 minutes, and other people are saying this has single-handedly ruined the entire game for me. I will not be buying your game anymore. It's like, damn, that bad, huh? Well, Marvel dialogue has been a thing for years now. Superhero movies are definitely losing a lot of the staying power they used to have. That much is for certain. But there is a certain type of dialogue that has become frustrating and eye-rolly. Why did that just shrink like 5 times? Okay, it would have been really funny if she just stayed on that little cube. That would have been so fucking funny. Well, you know that viral clip that Vinny had? That clip that shows up pretty much every time a new game comes out and it has dialogue in it. The viewfinder clip where he just immediately like goes to the options, finds the mute volume, and like that clip has become like infamous, essentially, for what it represents. Even though it's literally just a guy muting the volume because he doesn't want to hear it, but it's like it became like the flag for we hate this type of dialogue. It is a martyr. That clip is a martyr. And like I said, every time this type of dialogue ends up showing up in some kind of trailer or something, that clip makes its rounds again. It does. For better or for worse, I suppose, but it's a clip that I've seen many different times in many different places. And it's kind of funny how it's such a viral clip, but like, that clip has nothing to do with Vinny, is the funny part. That clip has like literally nothing to do with Vinny. Vinny doesn't even have to be like in it. You can mute him entirely, and it's just the fact of the matter is the clip is just that you get the character does a quip when you do an action, and immediately game pause, options, volume, voice down to 0. Like that's the clip. Vinny, it could have been literally anyone else and it would have been the same effect, but it just so happened that it was Vinny that did it, so he has to take the brunt of it. Now you could argue it's possible that it wouldn't have gone viral as much if it didn't have such an enormous initial signal boost, I suppose, but my point is that Vinny's inclusion in that clip has literally nothing to do, like, it has nothing to do with him. What the clip stands for has literally nothing to do with him at all. But he is the one who is representative of that clip because it's his clip. And it's like, oh, well, that's just how it is. That's just how it is. Can't get out of it. I think it's funny. People don't like quip dialogue anymore. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. People are just tired of it. So all of it defaults to being bad. Quips are very standard. Telling jokes and whatnot is, you know, people don't mind jokes, I don't think. But it's just a very specific style of writing that's why they call it Marvel writing, right? It's just one of those things. There's the type of dialogue that you hear and you just kind of roll your eyes. It does date things, but that happens for everything. Hmm. Hmm. Dante DMC is quip dialogue. Yeah, he's a smart mouth. He's a quipper. At least, I assume you're talking about DMC3, because I don't remember Dante being that much of a wise ass in the original game. DMC1 is a really strange game, and I don't know anything about DMC2. Oh, well. Well, DMC1 Dante is more like Leon, right? Like, DMC1 Dante's personality is more like what they intended for Leon for RE4, for obvious reasons. But then Dante kind of became, he kind of figured out what he wanted to be, who they wanted him to be by the third one. And then they were like, alright, series is over now. Alright, we did it. DMC is an interesting trilogy to me. Because it feels like, to me, for some series, not necessarily trilogies, I suppose, but for some series, what happens is the first game is clunky, but it has a good concept. The second game refines the concept and pretty much satisfies everything that the original had set out to do. And then the third game is like, okay, but now what do we do? But I guess in DMC 3, in DMC, like 2 was a weird experimental one, and I guess 3 was the good one. But it's interesting how sometimes it is just like, how do you improve on the formula? I feel like it's more common with movies. Here's an example. There are 2 movie trilogies that I can think of that for whatever reason, the third movie in the series is a Western. And that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Back to the Future. I don't remember what happens in those movies at all, but they are randomly Westerns. But the first 2 movies, I remember enough, and I think they're cool movies. But then there's a trilogy, it's a third movie, and it's like, what are we doing right now? Bayonetta, first trailer of Bayonetta 3, people thought it was Dante at the end. Literally the only thing I know about Bayonetta 3 is that I'm not sure if it's Bayonetta 4. Wait a minute. Chat, was there a Bayonetta 4? Or am I fucking insane? My oven just went off. Oh my god, was there a 4th Bayonetta? I'm not talking about the Witch Trials game that I heard literally nothing about after it got announced. Was there a Bayonetta 4? Or am I tripping balls? What the fuck? Light refreshers. Great. Alright, what the fuck was I talking about? Right, I remember. It was Bayonetta 3, and how when first time I saw Bayonetta 3 gameplay, the character that was being played for a majority of the time was not Bayonetta. But granted, I don't know anything about Bayonetta, so, you know. I don't really know much. I don't like Bayonetta. I was never really into Bayonetta to begin with, and I hate to say it because it's kind of sad, but Smash 4 kind of made me never want to ever engage with a Bayonetta game. Like, that is kind of sad, but like, yeah. Motherfucker is not Rain Mood today, so he's not stopping me from doing this. But, let me tell you about Isaac. The original Isaac OST is great. I've actually fallen asleep to the original Isaac OST multiple times. The Binding of Isaac Rebirth OST is you can't sleep to that. I can, however, sleep to Vinny playing it because he's really bad at it. I'm joking. He's not that bad at it. He's fine. But it's just the general atmosphere of the game with his voice is easy to fall asleep to. I enjoy it. Watch this. Bayo 2 had a bunch of exclusive costumes that were pretty cool. I'm pretty sure the Peach outfit that you put on her, while I do think it looked horrendous, it turned all of her Madonna butterfly attacks into Bowser limbs, which is really cool. Speaking of that, chat, last year, almost 1 year ago, Okami's sequel was announced at the Game Awards. The Game Awards are in, what, 3 weeks? I think it's in literally 3 weeks from now, December 11th. Come on, slide. Now, people are thinking Half-Life 3 is coming because people have been thinking Half-Life 3 has been coming for 20 years. To this day, I've never experienced actual Half-Life, and I honest to God believe that if I did, I would not understand why people think it's so great. I think I will never be able to appreciate what Half-Life did at all. If I played it, I would not think anything about it, like, at all. I just wouldn't. I like Left 4 Dead a lot. I never played TF2, I never played Portal. Never played Counter-Strike, if that counts. The only Valve game I ever played was Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, and I really, really like those games. But people talk about Half-Life, and Half-Life 2 is like the pinnacle of video games. Revolutionized genre. One of the greatest games ever released, and I look at it, and and it looks like that. It looks like Half-Life. So, genuinely, I think I missed the time frame for where I'm allowed to think that is the greatest game ever made. I've watched those games to an extent. Maybe it's just not my genre, but they don't look like that much fun to me. And that's fine. That's fine, because look at what I'm playing. Look at the fuck I'm playing right now. Who am I to judge? But I think really what it is I just don't have a good grasp on I don't have a good grasp on the genre and what defines it. Because this is a common thing that I find happens is when people revisit old games that are genre defining, they'll only see it as the most baseline tropes. Usually that's rage bait, but to a degree I get it. If a game like Dragon Quest III is a good example. Dragon Quest III is a game that standardized so many JRPG tropes. And if you were to play the remake, which is the original game, but, you know, 2.5D, you'd be like, wow, this game has a lot of tropes, and they're not really, like, they're very bare bones tropes. Because that game started it. That game was the godfather of all this bullshit. But it's easy to look at it, it's just like, wow, this is boring. You're not understanding or appreciating what the game did in its history. And that's exactly what's happening with me in Half-Life. Because to an extent, Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time, those are two games that are genre defining. Those are two games that paved the way for an entire genre. And they're fine games. I never really grew up with them properly. I think the games themselves are fine, but some people will tell you those are literally the greatest games ever made. And to me, they're okay. You know? Mario 64 has good movement if you get good at it. Otherwise, it's clunky. OT is a messy game, but some people really, really like it. GoldenEye is a good example, actually. I wouldn't say GoldenEye revolutionized FPS, but GoldenEye is a very well-known and a very beloved first-person shooter game, right? I have no care of that. Banjo-Kazooie is another one. People swear that Banjo-Kazooie is one of the greatest games ever made, and it's basically the godfather of 3D collectathons. And Banjo-Kazooie, I've played it, never beat it, but I've played it, and it's a fine game. It's fun. It's old rare. I like Donkey Kong 64 quite a lot. Whoa. DK64 is my first rare platformer. Well, I'm pretty sure I played Donkey Kong Country prior, but I meant 3D platformer. DK64 has its own reputation where it's like, but at the same time, Banjo, I've never seen Banjo-Tooie. I've seen enough gameplay of Banjo-Kazooie to the point where I'm pretty sure I know exactly how that game goes. But I have no idea what goes on in Banjo-Tooie. Never seen it. I do know that some people think it is awful, though. Some people think that game is awful. But I've never seen gameplay of it. It feels like whenever anybody talks about Banjo-Kazooie, they're literally only talking about the original. But some of them take it a step further where they say, like, where if you mention Tooie, they're like, no. Like, they won't just be like, oh yeah, that one too. They'll actively tell you, no, not that one. But DK64 is the one that gets the reputation of killing a genre. Sekiro, yeah, that's a good example, actually. Sekiro did not invent the concept of parrying. However, I think it's fair to say that Sekiro, with its heavy emphasis on parrying, really foisted the mechanic. It really foisted the mechanic at the forefront of game design. And you can say the same about Souls games in general. Dark Souls, Elden Ring, like, Souls-like is its own genre, and so many things want to be Souls-like, right? But Sekiro is a Souls-like. But it has a heavy emphasis on parrying, and that's why everything is parry slop. Roll slop, parry slop, boys. So it's cool. I think it's cool that you can have these newer games come out, and they kind of revolutionize in their own way as well. Indie games do it too all the time. Indie games kind of do it in a weirder way, because there's so much. I think there's just so much variance in what you can get out of an indie game that it's honestly a little more impressive when a revolutionary aspect of, like, industry comes from a AAA game, if that makes sense. I know that sounds kind of weird, but think about it. Most AAA games are very formulaic and they play extremely safe. Indie games just make whatever batshit insane shit they want to make based on how long it's been since the lead dev has taken their medication. So you get a lot of indie games that revolutionize and create a bunch of spin-offs. Like Balatro is a pretty recent example, I'd say. Balatro is a very successful game. It's been out for a while now, mind you, but it spawned all kinds of spin-offs and clones and inspirations and whatnot. But how often do you see AAA games really revolutionize a genre? How many times do you see a AAA game just kind of end up being, yeah, it was good, and then nobody talks about it anymore, right? I think that's kind of the problem that happens with most of them. Chad, I bought Legends Arceus on the Switch. I played it, I beat it, and I haven't played it in like 2 weeks. I finished the main story, and you know, people are doing their shiny hunts and all that bullshit. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm not sure why I bought it. You know? It was fine. It was fine. It's not like I didn't enjoy some of it, but man, when I really sat down and thought about it, I was like, did I even enjoy that? I don't know if I did. There were parts of it I appreciated and thought were neat, but when I really sat down and thought about it, I was like, was that really worth my money? That was not a cheap game. It feels like it was a cheap game. But, yeah. I just felt foolish. You know, you could say it's my fault, because it is my fault I bought the game. But I felt a little foolish buying it, beating it, and then thinking to myself, man, 'cause I played it for hours. I definitely played it for about as much time as you'd expect to put into a game that's $80 fucking. But I just don't feel like it was worth the time, I guess. But there are some games you play and you're like, that was great, and then you want to play it again as soon as you can. But I guess it depends on the replay value that's designed for it. I think ZA had some cool mega designs, and it had many more mega designs that were kind of not great. I do like a majority of the characters that were introduced, and I like that it brought up a little more with expanding on the Kalos years after. But ultimately, I don't know. I found 2 shinies in it, though. One was a Flabébé. I only knew it was shiny because that motherfucker was loud as shit when it sparkled. And the other one was a Sableye that I ran by. Pretty cool. Like, I think, I thought some of the Megas looked pretty cool and some of them were awful. Like, I thought Mega Babaracle was really cool. Because Babaracle is... Binacle and Babaracle are weird Pokemon already. But the idea of them is that they're multiple creatures that, you know, they look like hands. And the Mega form ends up looking like fucking the god with a million hands, right? I don't remember his goddamn name. But when he Mega Evolved and he looks like he's like the 1,000 hand god. And it's like, oh, that's actually a really cool concept for that Pokemon. I think the Mega Frostlass looks really nice as well. The Starmie one is fucking funny. Oh my god, Mega Starmie is fucking funny. It's so weird. It's such a weird creature, but it actually does like strike poses and shit in the game. It's so funny. Oh, new level. But some Megas I think didn't look that great. Mega Skarmory looked kind of weird. Mega Excadrill looked awful. Mega Electros also looked pretty bad. Mega Clefable looked like a piece of shit. I don't remember what Mega Dragalge looked like at all. I don't like Mega Dragonite. Mega Feraligatr looked like shit too. I don't think Mega Feraligatr looked good at all. Oops. Mega Meganium is okay, but eh. Yeah, some of them are bad. Some of them are pretty bad. I think Mega Excadrill might have been like that. Mega Excadrill might have been the worst. Like, that one is so stupid looking. It's literally just the fucking drills expand so far outward. Anyway, well, I'm not really interested in the DLC. There's been leaks for DLC. I know like the Mega Dimension DLC is coming out soon. I don't care. I don't care. That DLC's existence is what made me not interested in getting a Switch 2. I actually want to ask about that, chat. So, the Switch 2 came out back in July, right? It's been a while. But Mario Kart World went from, like, the only thing you see on Twitch for, like, a week. And now, like, no exaggeration, every racing game I've seen come out after it, it has always been, like this is better than Mario Kart World. This is better than Mario Kart World. And there's so many of these fucking video essays that are like, Mario Kart World is... Like, was it really that bad? What the fuck happened? How did Mario Kart World go from, like, whoa, this game's rad, to, this is the worst thing I've ever played? Fuck you. Legitimately, what happened? I know people still play it, obviously, but it seems like the attitude towards Mario Kart World took a pretty big nosedive, even after all of the, like, the initial Switch 2 is too expensive. Fuck you for buying it. What happened? I just don't really know. I don't really know what happened with Mario Kart World. I am aware about the intermission stuff and how they ended up making a patch that pretty much forced players to have to do them more because they weren't happy that they were being ignored or something. I don't know. But I have no idea what came after that, if there was any follow-up or anything like that. I don't know if they went back on that, but I do remember that happening. I also remember people saying that the game was actually pretty skill intensive. Like, the game had tech that gave it a high skill ceiling. I thought that was a good thing. But no, I don't follow it closely enough with the patches and whatnot, but it is weird. It just feels like that game had so much to it, and when people don't really even talk about it anymore, or when they do, it's like there's like venom in it, in their words. Oh no. The reason I think it's interesting is because Mario Kart 8 survived forever. Like, forever. Even if you're only counting Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch 1, it was the only Mario Kart game. Or it was the newest Mario Kart game for, like, basically 10 years. And people played it. A lot of people played it, and people liked it. And then it got its DLC, and it, like, brought... Like... That one did great. It just doesn't feel like Mario Kart World did nearly as well as that. And I know that it's a new game on a new system. So obviously, that versus, you know... Anyway, I don't have a horse in this race. I don't. I don't have a horse in this race. I have to assume it's related to the fact that it's a launch title for the Switch 2, but who knows? Man, eating has done wonders for my head. Wonders. Now I just have to hope it doesn't come back up. Still need to go to bed soon. I'm not gonna jump the gun or anything, but I feel a lot better after eating. Ugh. Well, 7's also a 3DS game. 7's a 3DS game, and 3DS servers EOS quite some time ago. I did enjoy my time at 7 though. I did. 7 had some weird fucking characters in it. I wonder why I'm paying for Switch Online, honestly. I already got the fucking bill for it, so... oh well. I'm almost done eating. Chat. Was Breath of the Wild the reason why open world games are so fucking annoying? That table is causing an issue. Sorry, I didn't mean annoying. That was a personal issue. I mean, I meant like that game was the reason why the genre is so more common. The table is still fucking swinging. The table is still swinging. Okay. I tried playing Breath of the Wild at least twice, and I got bored both times. One sec, chat. I'll be right back. let me say. I don't like open world because I find that in open world, just because there's a lot to run around at doesn't mean there's anything there. And that was my biggest issue. Was that, sure, the world was big, but there was nothing in it. I think that Legends Arceus Legends Arceus, I think, had a pretty good idea with open world, where it did have open world, but they were segmented areas that were a lot more digestible, and they had different Pokemon spawning in them, so there was actual purpose to it. There was purpose to it. In Breath of the Wild, my issue with it was that the only thing worth looking for in the wild, haha, is shrines. But, like, side quests, enemy bases, none of that shit mattered. It was only looking for shrines. And there are a lot of shrines, and you could also say the Koroks are worth looking for, but I don't know, man. Felt like there was a lot of running around that ultimately didn't lead to anything interesting or exciting. To an extent, Fallout and Elder Scrolls do that too, sure. But I don't know, I felt like in those games, their open worlds were smaller scale, but they were still open world. And there was still stuff kind of going on there, even though there were a lot of areas that were not very much more than like environmental storytelling. But that's still something. It's still something. Tears of the Kingdom is interesting because I had no interest in it because I knew it was going to be more Breath of the Wild. But I think that game did a good job with expanding on Breath of the Wild from what I saw. And I don't think it's fair to call it $70 DLC. But at the same time, there really was a Breath of the Wild too. You know? Like, despite the positives I think that game had, they really just straight up said Breath of the Wild 2. Like, there's something really funny about that to me. Game was so good, we need another. Like, other Zelda games that had sequels that were sequels were kind of special. What the fuck happened to her? Like, obviously, Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time come to mind, but the circumstances around that one are a little special. Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass and Wind Waker is technically a trilogy, but come on now. But no, Breath of the Wild into Tears of the Kingdom was straight up Breath of the Wild 2. But like I said, I think it actually did a pretty good job with stuff. It introduced some cool enemies, cool bosses, some like more map. Granted, it is still the original map as far as I know, but there's more stuff. There's the underground and the sky stuff. Different types, the different abilities. So it's pretty cool what it mixes up. But it really is Breath of the Wild 2. It is straight up Breath of the Wild 2. Age of Calamity, is that the that's the Muso one, right? Is that the new one? That's the new one, right? The new one that came out. That's basically the same plot as the first one, but it's you basically play as Zelda when she was back in time or something. I think the issue with those games is that the characters you're allowed to play as aren't interesting. Like, in the original one, you played as the descendants of the heroes, but you could also play as the heroes themselves, so you had a whole lineup. But in the new one, you play as Zelda, and then you play as whoever the fuck the guy was that you needed to free in Tears of the King. Like, I don't know. I have no idea who they were, and they definitely didn't have that much staying power or interest. They didn't have cutscenes. Like, the heroes that were with Link and Breath of the Wild had cutscenes and stuff to them to better establish them as characters. I don't think that happened at all in Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think that happened at all. They're just basically these faceless ghosts. They're basically just these faceless ghosts that existed back in a time frame, and now you can play as them. It's like, oh, you get to learn about them, but I don't know, man. I'd rather play as a Korok. Except I don't, because Pro ZD is the one who's voicing it. So I don't want to play as the Korok. I really don't. Tears of the Kingdom story, well, Breath of the Wild is that Calamity Ganon Baba Booey, right? Tears of the Kingdom is they find Ganondorf. And Ganondorf Baba Booey, I guess. I don't know, actually. All I know is they find Ganondorf and they awaken his evil. Oh, great. And then he's like, Ooga Booga, I'm Ganondorf. And you get, like, backstory on why Ganondorf was a bad guy. But, like, Link doesn't care. He just glorp shit. And then Ganondorf takes his arm for some reason. It's kind of metal. Not bad, but you defeated my big evil goo form, Calamity Ganon. Alright. You guys want to play Donkey Kong? Chad, Donkey Kong is a nominee for Game of the Year. Why? I don't know. People did say it was fun. Oh. But what is it GOTY? Cause it reviewed really well. Yeah, but so did Mario Kart World. Why isn't Mario Kart World contender for GOTY? Huh? Huh? This guy's farming me for points now. I don't think it looked bad. It looked like it played fun. There's the Odyssey team behind it, and Odyssey was a great game. I think, what was good but not that good? No, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, was it that good? World was like definitive new Mario Kart after like literally a decade. And they have so much fucking gas in the tank for showing it off and stuff, right? And then it just kind of was like, okay, blurp. And they showed DK with a child beating the shit out of his environment, like just full on fucking like gorilla break everything, and that was GOTY. That's GOTY. Right? You see what I mean? We made it so you can break literally anything in the game. This guy better stop farming me. Tired of losing my points to this guy. Mario Kart is a nominee. For Game of the Year? Not for the Game Awards, for Game of the Year. Game of the Year nominations are Donkey Kong Bonanza, Expedition 33, Kingdom Come 2, something else. I don't know. Anyway, GTA 6 comes out soon, right? Death Stranding 2, that sounds right. Song in Hades 2. Bro, Hades 2, I don't know what's going on with Hades 2. Legitimately, I have no idea what's going on with Hades 2. I know it was early access, but like that game is definitely not as popular as Hades 1. It's just fucking not. It's just not. I don't know what's going on with that game at all though. Pikmin ball. There you go. Sequel even like bigger than the OG. I don't know. I have no idea, but I remember that Hades was one of those games that nobody would shut the fuck up about how good it was. And then when they announced the second one, it was like, oh my god. And then it was in early access, and I watched Vinny play it once. And I watched another streamer play it like once, and they were like, yeah, it's good. Waiting for it to get out of EA, and then now it's out of EA, and I haven't seen them play it even once. So I just don't know what's going on with it. You could say the same about Silk Song, I guess. You could probably say the same about Silk Song. Silk Song is one of those things that conceptually it was exciting, and then when it came out it was a fine game, and that's fine. It's great that Silk Song was a good game and people enjoyed it, but it's very obvious that most, if not all, of the hype of it was because Silk Song is a meme. But it's nice that it was a good game. Some people might say it's their favorite game ever, and I don't deny that it's probably a good game, expanding on the formula of a successful game, but I do believe that its popularity is exaggerated by the whole Silk Song meme. That's for sure. Is there anything it did? Is there anything special that it did? Or is it just more Hollow Knight? Was it more Hollow Knight? I don't know. I didn't play it. Well, yeah, the thing is, the game was never going to be able to live up to the meme. It's like Half-Life 3. It's like Half-Life 3. We all know that Half-Life 3 is a game that, if it ever does come out, it could never actually be as good as the people who want it to be, you know, to exist. Sorry, I'm just putting this on the sidebar for later. The easiest way to understand it is it's like Mima. It's like Mima. The majority of people who screech over it don't actually care if it happens. But when it does happen, they'll screech really loud, and then they'll have nothing left to screech about anymore, so they'll shut up. Finally, they'll find something else to make their personality. Well, Half-Life got Half-Life Alyx, remember? Half-Life Alyx came out, and that definitely was exciting because it was new Half-Life, but then... Do people talk about Alyx? Alyx is not in the conversation with Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2. It's just not. It's just not. But it was new Half-Life after years, and obviously it broke the fucking internet for a bit because it was like a new Half-Life game. But then, bam. But actually having Half-Life 3 would... Actually having Half-Life 3 exist would probably crash Steam for a little bit. Silk Song did that. Silk Song actually brought Steam servers to its knees for people just trying to get the game. It's not that I think that Valve wouldn't deliver a good product. It's not like I think Half-Life 3 would be bad, but I do think that Half-Life 3 will never be the game that people expect it to be based on just how long people have wanted it. Megamonk dev. Yeah, actually, I saw that earlier today. So the guy that made Megamonk, his Megamonk was nominated for Game Awards for Best Debut Indie Game, and so the dev of the game had to like actually contact and be like, hey, this isn't a debut game. I made it with an alias. And yeah, that's he withdrew, yeah. Yeah, so the guy who made that, he just used an alias, which is his dev name backwards. But that was not his debut game, and he cleared that up. And so he got pulled from that specific running. Which is, that's fine. He made Crab Game and Muck. Yeah, I know what he is responsible for. For what I saw from comments, the reason why he ended up making Megabonk under an alias was because something to do with another game he was working on, that anytime he did anything, people would just pester him about that game. So he wanted to work on something and just kind of shut the fuck up about it so people would leave him alone. I get that. I get that. That gets really annoying. Do you get that, streamer? Haha, of course I do. Definitely. Always. Not as grand as that, but there are times where I'll be doing literally anything, and then I'll get a comment that's just like, when are you doing this? When are you playing this? When are you making this? When are you doing that? It's like, not right now. It's a lot worse when you're much bigger. It's a lot worse when you're bigger because you have even more people who are completely tone deaf to that kind of thing, and be like, hey, I made this, and they're like, oh, that's cool, whatever. Anyway, when are you making the thing I want? Like, they don't actually give a shit about what you're doing. They want the thing that they want. So they just completely disregard anything that you're doing or anything that could be going on in your life, and they want their content. They want their sweet free content, baby. Hey guys, you know, I fell out of a 3-story window and broke my neck, and now I'm in the hospital for 3 weeks. And then the first comment be like, damn, hope you get better so you can work on that video. It's like, yeah. Yeah. Whatever, I don't care. You're like, fucking pain, go away. Get back to work on video right now. Go make my content, streamer. I don't care if you're in the hospital with a broken neck. That's the double-edged sword of popular gimmick, is there are some people, it's like backseating to an extent. The explanation I've heard for backseating sometimes is that some people who backseat, really, they don't mean any harm when they do it, but some people are just fucking obtuse when it comes to actually communicating with other human beings. But then there are some people who they do backseat, and they're just like, oh my god, like, do you talk to other people this way? Like, holy shit, man. The only thing they'll say in a chat is instructions on how to play the game, and it's like, brother, I'm not listening to you. Let me play the fucking game myself. The only input you have in the chat is telling me how to play the game. Just save your energy. Just save your energy. I beg you. Some genres get it worse than others. Dark Souls has a pretty bad reputation with new players. Those games are very cryptic and it's easy to miss shit. But there's always a lot of people who want to help, quote unquote, and it can be a pretty draining experience. It's probably a lot worse when you're larger. The larger you are, the more likely you are to see it. But I found that aside from okay. Aside from like Souls games, I would say that tactic RPGs are probably some of the worst that you could get. Tactics RPGs are pretty bad because, well, they're tactic RPGs. So if your tactics aren't good, then people get mad. Sometimes it's not even a matter if your tactics are good or bad, it's that if your tactics differ from somebody else's. But also, there's things like map knowledge and game experience and general stuff like that, where it can be hard to enjoy playing a tactics RPG for the first time because anything you do, there's somebody telling you how you should be doing it. And it can get pretty bad. I had that. I've had that with fucking Keifu, of all things. And I think the worst part about it is they do this thing. Chat, I see this all the time. But it won't be that the chat member is talking to the streamer. They'll be talking to the chat like the streamer isn't there with their backseating. That stuff. That's the funny stuff. Where it's like there's a guy in chat and it's like he's like talking to the rest of chat. He's like, does this guy like know he can do this? They're not saying, hey streamer, you can do this. They're like putting their hand over their mouth, looking away from the stream, and they're like, does this guy know he can do this? Like they're talking like the streamer isn't right fucking there. They're literally talking like the streamer isn't right there. It's so funny. Oh my god. Does this guy have any idea that if he presses the parry button, it'll parry? Like, what is he doing? It's like they just accepted that. I have to assume something like that is born from an acceptance that they're ignored. They're ignored in more chats than they're not. And they've built in that level of like communication, which is kind of sad. But that's how I assume it has to be, because why would you talk why would you talk like that? Why would you talk in a chat like the guy who's streaming? It's like can't read the chat and is never like, obviously big chats, and sometimes even with smaller chats, if you're paying attention to the game, you're not gonna see every chat message. In my personal peripheral, when I look at the chat, I look at the bottom. If the chat reaches a certain point at the top of the screen, I'm not gonna see your message. I'm just not. I'm not scanning. I'm basically not scanning at the entire chat up and down. I'm looking at a general area, and if I see a message in that general area, then that's great. If I don't, then I don't. It's just how it happens. Of course, sometimes I don't read chat messages either. So, but most of the time it is. You do just miss chat messages. Some people take personal offense to it, and if you do, then maybe you should have better chat messages. maybe you should have better chat messages. I can't believe this. This guy is fucking... He's taking like 300 points from me. On call him a slur. Call him a slur right now. I demand it. Ugh. Read my message, streamer. I only read it because there's a gold star next to your name. That's privilege, baby. Privilege. No sub badge, I sleep. Yawn emoji. What slur can she say? If I told you, I would get banned. This is the part where I say something like, isn't it funny to think that On would slur? And some people would say, no, that's not funny at all. Well, I would disagree. I think that'd be really funny. I think that would be really funny. She learned it from Reimu. Oh my god. Okay, I'm tired of playing this guy because he keeps beating me. He has taken 1,000 points off of me at this point. I don't want to see him anymore. I dropped 2 ranks! John Pork. Oh my god. Ah. Man, what a great tier list idea that is. Which Toho character is liable to say a slur? Like, I'm sure that'll fucking boil over well. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, you know, I'm just ranking fictional characters based on how likely they are to say bad words. What kind of bad words? The words that would get me in trouble if I said them. Oh. That's a great idea. Let's do it. Alright, number 1, Reimu. 100% has already slurred in her life. Whether it was by accident or intentional, who knows? But she has definitely done it at least once. Character number 2, Marissa. I don't know. Maybe. I don't think Marissa definitely could have some colorful language, but I don't think Marissa would say anything that bad. I don't think she'd say anything that bad. On would have done it, yes, because she lives in proximity to Raymond. So that's a matter of bad influence. So she would say something, but she wouldn't mean it. It would just be because Raymond. What about Oku? Oku 100% because somebody would convince her to do it because she wouldn't know any better. That someone is me. That someone is me. I'll tell her, hey, go ask Lady Satori this. I'm sure, and she'll be really surprised, and Oku will do it, and then I will die. But you know what? Why funny? Why funny? Okay, so now the tier list is not who has said a slur, but who can you convince? Who can you convince to say a slur? Pretty much every character. I think I could convince at least half of the roster to say something they shouldn't. I think I could do that. I think I could do that. As long as none of it comes back to me, I could probably handle that. Top tier doesn't need convincing. True. True. They'll hit me with it first. They'll hit me with it first before I even get the conversation rolling. Aki would say very derogatory. Hey, I teach her some words. I teach her some alternative words to fairies until she finds one. Until she finds one that she likes. Fairy. Fairy derogatory. She would do it. She would do it. I would assist her. Can't say that. Well, that's the beauty of language, is you can just make up words. I can say it for Gublio, and someone will be like, Streamer, you can't say that. That's a slur. Is it? No. It's not even a real word. But it might become a real word in the future, and then I'll get in trouble for it retroactively. You ever see that episode of Disney's Recess? There was literally an episode of Recess about this topic. TJ has a catchphrase where he says shit, this womps. And somebody heard him say womps, and they were like, you can't say that. That's a slur. And they literally took him to court. They literally took TJ to court over him saying that word, and the judge was like, what? We can't prosecute this boy for that's just a word he made up. Like, what? He just made that word up. What are we doing here? So sometimes words just retroactively become no-no words, which is really annoying because you don't fucking know what becomes a no-no word. So some things that are okay to say now will just magically not be okay in the future, and then people will be like, wow, look at this guy who said these words 10 years ago. You should probably fire him out of a cannon. Glurp chip. It's like, well, okay. Guess I'll be the human cannonball. This has happened to me before, chat. I said a word that I thought I made up. I legitimately thought I made the word up. And then I got a comment that was like, oh my god, streamers using slurs. Oh no. I was like, what? What? I'm making up word. I made that word up. Apparently I didn't. That word existed before I got my fucking hands on it. And it's like, well, I guess I can't say that anymore because this is gonna be more trouble than it's worth. I thought I made up a fucking word. No, you didn't make up a word. You just said a slur. Great, fantastic. I love eggshells. They're my favorite thing to walk on. Well, I don't really know what to do about this situation now. Fugu. Fugu is not a real word. Fugu is a mispronunciation of the word fu and gu, which is like the state of mind of which you are euphoric, or whatever the fuck it means. You can't take that word from me. You can't do it. Oh, come on. You can't have my word. That's my word. I make up words all the time. I made up snai. That's my word. I made that word. Skuya, I made that word too. Skuya and snai. Squishy, that's my word. I made those up. Goo is not my word though. I didn't make that one up. I borrowed that word. I borrowed that word. Squishy, skuya, snai. Those are my words. Kogasi. That's my word too. That's right. But that's not really. That's a borrowed word. That's borrowing a suffix. All right. Yomu 3 times. That's not really a word, but yes, that's mine too. Saying Yomu's name 3 times is in fact that's my word. You can't have that one. Ruma. That's my word too. Yes. I removed the I. You know why? Because I can't see her. That's why her name is Ruma. The eyes don't work. I made that up. Summon Yomu in a mirror. Yomu, Yomu, Yomu. And she pops out of a mirror. And then what do you do, huh? Then what do you do? What about snai? Do you know where that word came from? That word came from me getting annoyed that people kept telling me that I was pronouncing Sanai's name wrong. And I was like, you know what? Here's her new name. Her new name is Snai. Leave me the fuck alone. That's where it came from. Streamer, it's Sanae. Yeah, it's 3. I don't care. I kept calling her Sanae. I'm like, no, it's Sanae. No, her name is now Snai. Fuck off. Your pronunciation of June. Well, that's just because I thought it was pronounced Jun, because in the game it's typed out as J-Y-O-O-N. And Joan is like an old lady name, so I call her Jun. Or June. I call her Jupe sometimes. I do call her Jupe sometimes. That's not a common nickname though. That one just kind of slips out every now and again. You can't force nicknames, you know? Shit just kind of happens. You can't force it. They have to happen naturally. Nue is interesting because Nue Hoju is her name, but I always call her Nu Huju. Because that's just... I don't know, it sounded funny to me, so that's what I do. That's what I say her name as. Let's call her Nu Huju. I know how to pronounce their names, but whatever. Chat, you know what's really annoying? When people grill you on pronunciation for words that aren't real. Oh my god. I hate that. Here's a fucking made-up word in a video game. Here's how it's pronounced. Says who? Says literally who? Huh? Fuck off. Fuck off. How do you pronounce Chirno? I don't know. I don't care either. Her name is Chirbo. Yeah, well that's a shortening of her name, Yamame. I don't know. Well, I call Reimu Reimu because I like Reimu's name. I don't call her anything special. I pretty much just call Marissa Marissa. Sometimes I call her Oire Mudaze, but like usually I just call her Marissa. Ruma I call interchangeably Ruma or Rumia. Chirno I usually call Chirbo. Mailing is just Mailing. Diose is usually just Die. Quackama is usually Quack. I usually just refer to her as a duck. Patchy. Well, there you go. Patchouli is usually Patchy, but sometimes I call her Batchy. I don't call her Pacholti. I don't call her Puchy either. Sometimes I call her Batchy because I'm feeling particularly B-emoted. Because that was a moment in our history when the B emote became very popular. Pretty sure that's why Chirbo exists too, because I just like including the big stupid fucking B letter in things. So that's why I call her that. How do you spell it? Spell what? Quack? It's just Q-U-A-K. It's like quack like a duck, but without the C. Why did she flip? Patchy? Oh, I spell it with a Y. I spell Patchy with a Y. Remy? Well, Remilia, I like Remilia as a name, but I call her Remy. And I call her Wemmy sometimes if I'm feeling particularly stupid. Flandre. Flandre's name is fine, but Flan rolls off the tongue. We also call her Goo. We do call her Goo more often than we don't anymore, that's for sure. I don't even use the full name, I just call her Goo. I don't call her Goo Boo, she's just Goo. That's it, she's just Goo. Letty is just Letty. I guess we're just going through the fucking total characters at this point. Letty is Letty. Chen is Chen, but sometimes I extend the vowel because it's fun to do that. Although there was a period in time where I called her Chenifer. I don't call her that very often anymore, but I did call her Chenifer for a period of time. I just remembered that. That was something that I called her. Alice, I call Alice because it's already a perfect name. There's no reason to change it. Although I do like fucking with her last name. I do like fucking with her last name, but usually I just call her Alice. Prism Rivers, Lunasa, Merlin, Lyrica. Not much to go off there, I just leave those alone. Yomo, I just like saying her name. I just like saying her name, so I say her name a lot. That's all I got for that. Yiko is a pretty fine name. Yiko, just saying Yiko's fine. Ron, I actually am not sure. I wonder if I used to call Ron Ran. I'm not sure about that. It's possible that early on I'd called Ron Ran. I might have thought her name was strange because it just was, you know, a word I was familiar with in English. But Ron is a fine name. I like Ron. And Yukari, I don't. Yeah, Yukari is just kind of a name. I just kind of let that one roll. I just kind of let that one roll. Wriggle, I call her the Boog. She is the Boog, spelled B-O-O-G. Sometimes I call her Riguru because I like the way they pronounce it in Japanese. But for the most part, she is just kind of, you know, she's Wriggle. She's Wriggle. Mistia is fine with Mistia. I don't even call her Misty that much. That, like, it's weird. Like, that nickname, that's definitely a nickname for her, but it's like, it's too personal for me to use, if that makes sense. It's really weird. Because, like I said, I'll call her Patchy, I'll call her Remy, I'll call him Flan. But I don't call Mistia Misty because it's too personal. It's too personal. I'd rather just call her Mistia. It's really weird. Kane, so Kane is interesting because due to my knowledge of her pronunciation for her name, I called her Kane, like just C-A-I-N. I also called her Kaine at some point as well, but it's Kane. I know how to pronounce it, and usually I just lean towards Kane, because the extra bit is some whatever. Tay's a funny one actually, because I didn't know that the W in Tay's name is basically silent, so I called her Tui. That was her name. Her name was Tui because it was T-E-W-I. Tui. But no, it's Tay. And honestly, Tay is funnier to me. But Tui, I did enjoy calling her Tui. Oh, I fucked that one up. Banjo and Tui! Raisin I pretty much always called Raisin because I liked her name. I liked Raisin as a name. Although when I call her Udongi, sometimes I call her Udongi. I do like calling her Udongi. Inaba, I just kind of say it because I like saying Inaba like that, but usually I just call her Raisin because I think Raisin is a good name. Although we also call her Bunni sometimes, so there's that. We do call her Debunni. Kaguya, I usually call her Kaguya. Different emphasis on the syllables. I turn her to Goo. I don't even like Kaguya that much, but it's just funny to say it that way. So the Kaguya or Kaguya. Eren, I don't care about. I just call her Eren. Oh yeah, Guya as well, yeah. Guya, Guya, Guya. And Moko. Moko is basically just Moko. I never called her Moku. Never. Never called her Moku. Never called her Mocha either. She was just always Moko. Although I do sometimes say Fujiwara because I think that's really funny. It's literally just because the Fu and the G, for her name can be pronounced as Hu and Z. So you can call her Fujiwara. I just find that kind of funny sometimes. But otherwise I leave her name alone. Suika, I just call her Suika because I like the way it rolls off the tongue. I do like Suika. Komachi, sometimes I call her Onoduka because she also has a character in her name with a outdated pronunciation that you can pronounce that has a D in it. So sometimes I call her Duka. But otherwise, nothing. Eiki is interesting because I used to call her by her full name, thinking it was only her first name. I think a lot of people make this mistake, but Eiki Shiki is her name, but a lot of people probably assume that she's Shikieki Yamazanadu. But Yamazanadu is her title. It's not her name. So her name is Eiki Shiki Yamazanadu. That's her title. But people see it in Toa 9 and are like, her name is Shikieki. Shikieki Yamazanadu is her full name. And I definitely thought that when I first saw her. I definitely thought her full name was Shikieki. But now I just call her Eiki. Yuka, I just call her Yuka because Yuka is a fine name. Medicine, it's medicine. And Aya, honestly, honest to God, Aya, I like the name Aya to begin with. I think the name Aya is already stellar. Sometimes I say the meme. Sometimes I say the mean. But like for the most part, I just call her Aya because I like the name Aya. If I call her Shamemaru, I used to call her Shamaimaru. I don't know why. There was a point where I was convinced that her last name was like Shamaimaru. Shamimaru even. I don't remember, but Shamemaru was not what I thought her last name was. But yeah, I used to call her Aya, but now I just call her Aya. I like Aya. Minariko and Shizuha are kind of... I'm pretty sure early on I forgot what their names were, so I just called them the Yakis. But that is their last name, so it's fine. Hina, I call her Hina because I love saying Hina like that. I love putting so much emphasis on the first syllable of her name. Kagiyama is fun to say as well, but Hina, I like putting emphasis on the he in her name. Instead of calling her just like Hina, I always like putting the real big enunciation on the he. It's Hina. It makes it cute. Keep confusing the name Shizuha with Shizuka. That's because your horse girl brain rotted. You fool. That said, I keep getting Chiare and Chieri mixed up, and it's really fucking annoying. Because I can't remember which one's which. Anyway, Nitori. Honestly, I think I've always just kind of left Nitori as Nitori. Seiga and Sega I still mix up every now and again, but that's usually just because, come on, that's an honest mistake. Nah, Nitori is one that I never, oh, I think I used to call her Nitori though, like nitwit, but that's just because I didn't read the N-I as Ni, I read it as Ne, so, but not like night, because it's not like, it's another right follow-up, so I call her Nitori. But no, her name is Nitori. Nitori. It's weird. Momiji, well, Momiji is already a fun name to say. I did call her Momizi for a period of time. And that, again, just like Fujiwara, it's just because the character for G can be read as Z. So calling her, oh yeah, I've called her Miji. Actually, I've called Momiji like 7 different names. I'm pretty sure in some of the latest videos I've done where Momiji popped up, I called her a different name every time I mentioned it. I called her Momiji, I called her Miji, I called her Momi, I called her Mimi. I called her like everything under the sun. I just kind of swapped around the syllables of her name. So yeah, I guess, but I don't actually do that. I just did it because I just did it for fun in the videos. But I don't actually do that with her name at all. Miji's pretty common though, I think. Miji's pretty common. Aya we already talked about. Snai, yeah, I called her Mimo. I forgot about that one. Oh, Mimo. I called her Moji. I remember calling her Moji. I forgot about Mimo. I like Mimo. Finding Mimo. Where is she? I don't know. Where'd she go? Yeah, no, we talked about Snai. Snai was born out of Angor. Kaneko, I don't care. So she's just Kaneko. Suako, sometimes I just call her Froggy. I just call her Frog. I call her Base Frog, or or Peepo. But Suako is fine. Suako is fine, but every now and again I'll say Frog because it's Suako. It's fine. Amazing Frog, that's her. Yamame, usually shortened to Yam because, Yam. Kisume is Kisume. Parsi is interesting because I've definitely called her Parse for an elongated period of time for no real reason. I don't know why. I just removed part of her name. I just called her Parse. Pretty sure I don't do that anymore. I just call her Parsi. Yugi I've never really messed with because it's just Yugi. It's just Yugi. Satori? Well, I've called her Story before. I have called her Story before, but I don't call her that very often. I do call her Marshmallow, though. I do call Satori a Marshmallow on more than a couple occasions. Not really her name, but I don't know. Let me try to explain this again. So the reason why I call her a marshmallow is because she looks like a marshmallow to me. Like, her overall demeanor, her texture, she looks really, really soft. Like, it feels like if you tried to pick her up, you would accidentally throw her into the ceiling. Because she's so light. She just looks like a marshmallow. That I don't know how to explain this any better. She just looks like a marshmallow to me. Like she has the same texture and weight as a marshmallow. I don't know how to explain it. Orin is already a nickname, and it's a fine name, and I'm fine with calling her Orin. Oku is also already a nickname, and I'm fine with that. Although sometimes I do call her by her full name. But I feel like I'm more likely to call Oku Utso than I am to call Orin Rin. It feels really weird to call Orin Rin, but saying Utso feels really normal to me. It feels more normal to say Utso than it does Oku. Although I do call her Ogu sometimes, that is true. I do say Ogu. But usually what I'm talking about see, I just had to stop myself from saying it. But usually when I'm talking about Utso, I will just call her Utso. But when I'm talking about Orin, I will just say Orin. But if Oku shows, see, like I'm interchange, I'm not doing that on purpose. Literally, I'm not doing that on purpose. Whenever Oku like shows up, sometimes I'll like kind of I'll call her Oku or I'll say Ogu. But like sometimes it's interchangeable, and I have to assume it's because of the context in my head, whether or not I want to say it. Because I do this with Marissa as well. I actually find this very interesting with Marissa, but Marissa is an English name. It's an English name, but Marissa's half Japanese. Because her last name is Kirisame. So whenever I say Marissa, I say it as Marissa, because it's an English name. But if I say her full name in Japanese order, I'll say Kirisame Marisa. I will pronounce Marissa as Marisa if I'm reading her full name, but I will not pronounce it as Marisa if I'm only reading her first name, because it seems weird to me. But it seems weird to say Kirisame Marissa, so I will say Kirisame Marisa if I'm saying her full name. And that's like the only character I can think of that I actually do that. I don't do it for Alice. When I say Alice Margatroyd, it's usually in that order because Alice is not Japanese, right? There's a number of characters, like Ramilia and Flandre Scarlet, but those characters are in Western order. But Marissa is Japanese. She's obviously heavily European inspired, but she's still Japanese. So, yeah. Isn't Marissa a Japanese spelled name? Marissa, you'd have to look into name origins, but Marissa is not a Japanese name. It's definitely not a Japanese name. Now, it probably could be a name that they use in Japan, but I don't believe it originates from Japan. It's probably a borrowed name. I'm pretty sure Marissa originates from Europe. Going back to where I was at. Who was I at? Right, Oku. Koishi, who I pretty much just call Squishy, and the reason for that one is because in puppet play games, characters have different stances they take, where it basically just puts a letter in front of it. So it's like if they have their attack form, it's an A. If it's speed form, it's an S. If it's a defense form, it's D. So you get things like Squishy, which is speed Koishi. And it just sounds funny to me because it doesn't read as S Koishi to me. It reads as of one word, so I call her Squishy. And that's just kind of how that stuck. The fact that it uses kanji disqualifies it as ever being pronounced Marissa to me. Well, the thing is that all Mari and Sa, those are all sounds. Those are all sounds that can be made with Japanese phonetics, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that the name itself. That doesn't necessarily mean the name itself is from Japan. I'm confident that Marissa is a European-based name, but it can be done in Japanese because Marisa. Marissa as a name originates in Roman and its languages such as Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese. See, I wouldn't have expected that, but there you go. Does the internet ever lie? Anyway, let's continue with this because this is a fun conversation. Nazarene, that's the rat. That's Boss Rat. That's Big Rat. That's Rat Jam. That's Egg. That's anything but Nazarene. That is anything but Nazarene. Well, I call her Nazarene. I do call her Nazarene. I think Nazarene's a fine name, but I do like calling her the rat. She's a mouse. She's a mouse. I know she's a mouse. I like calling her the rat. Kogasa? Kogasa is one that I use her name pretty infrequently. There came a certain point where I started calling her Gussie. and it rolled off the tongue, so I kept saying it. Kept calling her Kogusi. Oh, I forgot Iku and Tenshi. I'll do a quick backtrack. Iku, her last name confused me, so I never tried to pronounce it. But Iku is fun to say. And Tenshi, which is a fine name, but also her last name is similar to Te, where it has that W. So early on, I called Tenshi Hina-nawi. Her name is Hina-nai Tenshi. I would call her Hina-nawi. I was like, yeah, that's gotta be how it's pronounced. Maybe I should back up and do last names. Yeah, let's back up. Let's go back to EOSD and do last names real quick. Hong Mei-ling, I never bothered with that. Scarlet's, doesn't matter that much. Never bothered too much with that. Knowledge. Sometimes when I read her name like an asshole, I'll call her Knowledgey. Skuya. Skuya is funny because I used to call her Izayaoi. And I think that was actually partially because I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. It's Izayoi, but I would call her Izayaoi because I just did. Alright. White Rock is White Rock. Yakumo is fine. Prism Rivers is pretty much what I refer to them as. I already talked about Alice's last name. Kompakuyomu. Sometimes I call her Compact. Sometimes when I'd say her name, I imagine her as being like a little travel case. Compact Yomu. She's very compact. Saiyoji, I could not really pronounce properly for a while, so that one doesn't even come to mind. I talked about Nightboog. Mystia. Lorelei, I didn't really talk about. Kamishirasawa was not a name I had that much trouble remembering, surprisingly. Inaba, I talked about. Yakokoro, I forgot if it was Yagokoro or Yakokoro many times. Horai-san is whatever. And Fujiwara, I talked about. Aki Sisters, Kagiyama. Kawashiro is whatever. Shamemaru, I talked about. Melancholy is a word. Kazumi is whatever. Onoduka, I talked about. I talked about Eiki. It's not my turn. Bro took too long. He got his power in, but they didn't take his turn. Inubashiri, I like saying that. Kochiya, sometimes I like saying that. Yasuka is whatever. Moria is whatever. Kurodani, I sometimes forget. Hoshiguma, whatever. Mizuhashi, I barely remember. Komeiji is fine. Utso, I've already mentioned. Kaimbyo is a weird name, but it's memorable in its weirdness. Alright, now we're back up to Kogasa, which is Tatara, which is fun to say actually. Like little taps. Little taps. Ichirin Kumoi. Kumoi is a weird name. I remember it because it sticks out, but Ichirin is a fine name. Unzan is Unzan. Yuko Yukiko. I would just, my brain would probably fill in the blanks. My brain would probably fill in the blanks on that, because when you're not really familiar with how to read Japanese vowels, you're gonna read them like English, right? Hence why Nitori was Nitori. Right? Nitori, she was Nitori because I read the I as an I, but it's Nitori, but I read it as Nitori. I actually had that problem with Takane as well, which I think her name is pronounced Takane, but I would call her Takane, like ta. There'd be more emphasis on ta than but instead of taka. So instead of Takane, it would be Takane. Ichiden. No, it's Ichiden. It's Ichiden. There's 3 I's. There's 3 I's in Ichiden's name, but Ichiden kind of rolls off the tongue easier. But I've never had anybody I've never really had anybody mention that. Murasa's an interesting one, because Murasa is an example of a character who's more known for their last name, right? That's her first name is Minamitsu, which is not used. People just call her Murasa. She's Captain Murasa after all. She's Captain Murasa. Torimaru's show. Fine. Hijiri Byakuren is one that confused me for a while. Because Hijiri is her last name. But we do call her Byakuten. But then there's so many times where they use Hijiri to describe her, and it's like, no, call her Byakuten. And then New Huju, which is funny. Was Byaku a nickname? I never called her Byak, no. I never called her anything like that. New Huju was born mostly from being unable to read the specifics of vowels. New Hoju. Also, I didn't realize her last name was Hoju. So I thought it was Hojo. Like, I thought it was spelled like Toho. No, it's Hoju. I didn't know that. I don't know how I didn't know that, but I didn't. It's a relatively new learn. Kasodani Kyoko. Kyoko is just a fine name. Yoshika Miyako. I call her Joshka. And the reason I call her Joshka is because of Yoshi, but I read it as Joshi because I am mentally unwell. And hence I combined it, so I call her Joshka. That's fucking stupid. Yeah, it is. It's really stupid. But I made my choice. Fuck off. Sega is Sega, and that's just how that has to be. Sega is simply Sega. There's no two ways about that. Kaku, who cares? Soga no Tojiko was whatever. Futo is funny to say, but her last name has too many O's. Mononobe no Futo. So her last name usually extends the number of no's in it. Mononobe no Futo. And then Toyosato Mimi no Miko. But Miko is just kind of like a fine name and a fine word. So that one's fine. I no issue with that one. And Futatsuiwa Mamizo, which I don't have any nickname for her. Kokoro is just Kokoro. Kokoro is just Kokoro. Hitate, I pretty much just call her Hat because it's easier to just call her Hat. Hime Kaido, I don't think much about that one. But Hat is usually pretty good for her. Sunny, Luna, and Star. So they're interesting because I'll call them. I just call them by their name, but I like calling Sunny by her full name. But only her. Only her. Sunny is the only one I like calling by her full name because her full name makes me giggle. Her name is Sunny Milk. What kind of a fucking name is that? I gotta burp. Holy flips! Okay. Where was I? 14. So, Wagasaki Hime. Waggy is a common one. But really, my biggest issue was her is I couldn't remember if it was Wagasaki or Wakasagi. I'm pretty sure it's Wagasaki, though. But yeah, again with Eden, like just like Eden, the G and the K placement, I don't remember where they are. I don't remember where they are. Seki Banki is just her name. I call her Banki. And that's about it. Imaizumi Kagero, just call her Kagero. Don't really mess around with that. Yatsuhashi and Ben Tsukumo, the Tsukumo sisters. I know that we call her not Ben, but for the most part, I do refer to her by her name. Kijin Seija, who is just Seija. Or sometimes she's Sega if I forget who I'm talking about. And Shin Myomaru Sakuna, who is Shimmy for convenience. I feel like, chat, there are some characters that their nickname becomes so... Hina Black! Holy shit! Their nicknames become so synonymous that not like using their full name makes you seem like a prick. You know what I mean? Like it's like if you're talking about Shin Myomaru and you call her Shin Myomaru instead of calling her Shimmy, people are like, really, bro? It's like if you call her Minamitsu, right? If you're talking about Marasa and you call her Minamitsu, it's like, what the fuck, like, what, you want to be special? it's weird. There's like a stigma that attaches to certain characters that you're not allowed to say certain parts of their name because it's just so synonymous with nicknames that it's like if you're using their full name, it just kind of makes you look like a jackass. Anyway, back to the so Horikata, Raiko. Raiko has a great name. I've only ever needed to say Raiko. Seiren and Ringo or whatever. Doremi Sweet is Doremi Sweet. So Kishin and Kijin. Seija Kijin and then Sagume Kishin. Although I call her Sagumi. I don't even like Sagume that much, but I like saying the word goo apparently. I have a problem with extending my O's, so I call her Sagumi. Clown Piece, who is sometimes abbreviated to just Piece, or Clown, or Clown P, which I don't think Clown P is a very flattering nickname, so I usually just refer to her as her full name, because it's not that much effort to do so. Junko, sometimes I call her Junkie, but that's whatever, you know. And then Hikatia, who sometimes I call her Heck, but usually I call her Hikatia. Lapis Lazuli. Fuck that name. Eternity Larva. Sometimes I call her Larva because of B emotes. But for the most part, I'll just call her Eternity. Nemono Sakata. Who cares? So she's just Nemono. On Komanu, she is Aun. That's her name. She is Au. Yatadara Narumi is just Snarumi. Mai Tereda and Satoru Nishida are just Mai and Satono. I don't care. And Madara Okina is just Okina. Ebisu Eika is just Eika. Ushizaki Urumi is just Urumi. Niwatari Kutaka is just Kutaka. Nicknames kind of die off the further in you go, huh? Kisho Yashie is just Yashie. Jotogu Mayumi is just Mayumi. Hania Sushin Keiki is just Keiki. Kurokoma Saki is just Saki. I will say though, Totetsu Yuma, I do like putting emphasis on the U. I do call her Yuma. It's just I'm not pronouncing it wrong per se, but it's just the enunciation I'm giving it is all. Yuma. Uma. Oh yeah, Sumireko is Sumireko. Maribel and Renko, I usually just call Maribel and Renko because I don't care about them that much. Shion and Jun, as you know, I will never call Jun Joan. Sometimes I call her Jupe when I'm having a giggle, but as far as I'm concerned, her name is Jun, and I just call her that, and that's not even a nickname, that's just her name. Her name is not Joan. Her name is not John. No siree. For 18, Mike Gotokuji is just Michael, for obvious reasons. Yamashiro Takane, I mentioned before, I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. I call her Takane for a while, but it's Takane. What's her name? It's a Komakusa, I think it is. Sanyo Komakusa. I don't have anything for her. Misamaru Tamatsukuri. Not really anything for her. Izuna Maru, I thought was funny. Megumu Izuna Maru. Kuramaki Tsukasa. I only really remember that one because I remembered the name Tsukasa from Lucky Star. And then Shimada Tenkyu, who has a funny name. But there's no real nickname. There's no real nickname for that. Sun B10, the monkey, we call her Monkey. Tenka Jin Chiari, Stinky. What's her name? Enoko Mitsugashira. I like Enoko's name. Zamu Nipaku, I don't care about. And Hisami Yomotsu. She's, Yomotsu is her species. She's one of those characters. Isami's a fine name, though. And Tolo 20 I can't help you with, because I don't remember the names of the Tolo 20 characters. I don't remember those names. So I don't have nicknames for them at all. What about PC98 streamer? Well, glad you asked. Because I actually do have some information about those ones I can share. Shingyoku, who I often called Shingyoku because I wasn't sure if it was Sin or Shin. Doesn't really matter. Yugen Magan, who is Yugen Magan. Mima, who is Mima. The real one is... What's her name? I forgot her name. Kikuri, right. Not her, the other one. But Kikuri is Kikuri. For me, it's Ellie. I didn't do that on purpose. So, I don't really know why, but Elise's name, E-L-I-S, I don't read the S in her name. I don't read the S in her name. So I read her name as Ellie, and the S is basically silent. So whenever I see her, I call her Ellie, and I've had many times where people tell me that that's not Ellie. And the reason it's confusing is because there is a character named Ellie in PC98. So there's two characters that I call Ellie, but one of them is not just because I don't read the S in her name. Her name is Elise, but her name to me is Ellie because I don't read the S. I just don't read the S in her name. Genji is Genji. Rika is Rika. Meira is Meira. Yeah, that's really all for the character names for 2, huh? Rikako Asakura. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but Rikako, I'm pretty sure it's Asakura, right? Or is it Asakura? I actually don't know. I assumed it's pronounced Asakura because Asakura. I don't know if you how to read that. I know that I know that it's a real surname. I know it's a real name. I'm saying I don't know how to pronounce it though, so that's the way I pronounce it. Oh. Yuck. Kotohime, which is Kotohime. Ellen, who I just call Ellen. Kana Anabero, which I don't even really know what's going on with her last name, so I'll just call her Kana. It's Asakura. Oh, okay. It's Asakura. That's her name. I just call her Asakura. Alright. I will continue doing that, though. And there's, so there's Chiuri Kita Shirakawa? Or Kita... Oh god. It was, Kita Shirakawa, right? Chiuri Kita Shirakawa. Her name... Or no, I think it's Sawa, right? Her name is similar to Kami Shirasawa. But it's Kita Shirasawa. I don't remember now. I don't remember what her last name is. And then Okazaki Yumemi, who I call Yumemi, but I remember her last name because it's the same surname as the guy from Clannad, who is Okazaki Tomoya. And then Toho 4 is Orange Kurumi, Ellie, the actual Ellie, E-L-L-Y, and then Yuka's debut. But Mugetsu and Gengetsu, who I don't care about. And then Sarah, Sarah Luis, Mai, Yuki, Yumeko, and Shinki. And I don't have any real... It's Kita Shirakawa. See, that's what I thought, but like I was second guessing myself super hard. Alright. Well, chat, that's fun. Let's go to the shop and look at some, look at my boxes, though. It's been 3 hours. My headache is pretty much gone, and I'm not tired anymore, which is actually a bad thing, because I want to go to bed so I can be better. The legendary box. Working. Kagiyamarisa. Dangerous Girl. Sports Fest. Cafe Cutie. Sugigiri. Cooking Yomu. Cooking Yomu. Were any of these new? No. None of them were new. Alright, let's trade 10 pieces for a new one. Cat Nue. 10 pieces for that. Hold on. Thumbnail acquired. Alright. Alright, chat. I feel a lot better. But hopefully it means that just going to bed will be easier. I want to go back to what I was doing tomorrow, but honestly, I'm gonna have to do a bunch of actual I'm gonna have to do actual adult things. Damn. Oh well. Level 68 Jun. Hell yeah, my guy. Hell yeah. Yeah, I had fun. That was 3 hours, surprisingly. Time really flew by. More Hina. Oh wait, chat, the Game Awards. I just remembered. We do the Hina Game Awards. The next time you see Hina will probably be then. Be prepared.